It's Friday night and you're still hanging around, tired of living in your one fish town. Anyways, so how are we doing, guys? Sorry about the delay. I uploaded an episode. Well, I tried to upload a new list of 30 fish to check out in 2025. It's kind of similar to the one like fish you should breed in 2025, but it's more amorphous. I was going to do just like catfish and loaches and eels, and then I decided that like I wanted to include a few extras, so I didn't want to limit it to just that. But that being said, that video should be up now and live, and it's odd that I do that in the afternoon, and I remember why I don't do that usually, and that's because of my internet. It's so freaking slow in the afternoon that it is painful. So I wanted to apologize for the delay because I had to wait for that to upload first. Now, we had one heck of an electrical storm going on here in Seattle the other night. Last night? Yeah, last night. And it was it didn't take out anything 2 nights ago, I guess. It didn't take out anything important other than the light rail, the new $1 billion light rail. It crippled a stop and a half of that. Hit the electrical thing like Back to the Future style, I guess, and just fried it. Good thing it's not electrical or have any electrical parts or anything. But what I was going to say to you guys is that then when I started this little stream, right as I pressed go, I just hear this thunderous crash. And I look what's going on in here, and look who decided to just take a potted plant and just throw it on the floor. Sumi did. Sumi, hey, come here. No, do not play with that ball of dirt. You stop. So I didn't even have time to clean that up. Like, my wife's going to come home and she's going to be like, how's it going, huh? Why haven't you cleaned this up? And my answer is going to be because of this monster. This little monster that's playing with a clod of dirt. Stop it. A clod of dirt. So let me just pick this up real quick. I can't sweep it all right now, but holy bananas, the cat struck again. I mean, if she didn't kill all of our plants thoroughly, I mean, she's giving them a run for their money. All right. And I put these big beefy aquarium rocks in, hoping that this would prevent her from going up on here anymore and it would counterbalance the plant that she basically killed. But no, she's acting up, being a cat. So I don't know what she's going to break next. Probably something that's used for streaming or making content. So that's frustrating. It's nice and frustrating. Anyways, how are you guys doing? I see we had some, like, already we had some super chats. I saw that we had, hold on. All the Critters, thank you so much for that very generous super chat. I don't see a comment, but if you have a comment, let me know down below. I'm going to scroll to live in a minute here after I shout out the other. Like, you guys are being so generous. Thank you. Your super chats will be well used. I'll buy things like lights. I was just actually talking with another YouTuber by the name of Adam Ragosia, and he is a food kind of focused creator, but he kind of does like the history, the background, I don't know, the ins and outs, the science of food. He's kind of like what my channel is about fish for food. And apparently he is a fan and viewer of the channel, and he has very generously, because he knows about all the medical bill situation, he's offered to basically help me out with some gear, like a better camera for filming underwater and a couple tips and things. So I've been trying to, pick his brain for any little tips that he wants to give me. And you know, yeah, I mean, I'm listening all ears, because yeah, definitely. And also, he may be, I mean, I'm going to be in an episode on his channel that we filmed a year ago. And it was basically, he wanted to try nature aquariums, and he looked all over the internet, and I am honored and humbled that he reached out to me. I guess he saw all the different folks out there and thought that like mine was kind of the middle path, so to speak, but an educated middle path. And I mean, I'm humbled by that assumption or summary. And I think that like, that's what I strive for, is to be a place where, you know, if you're new, you're welcome to join us. But if you really want to get into the hobby, if you really want to know about the background, the science, the weird stories that connect the people, the fish, the places, the things to our aquariums, and like new science, new discoveries, this is the channel to be at, for sure. And we have such a cool community of members, and very, very generous, kind, compassionate people. And I mean, that is what I've like just hoped and prayed for, essentially. To when I made the channel, was that like we'd get a community that's tight knit and that wants to kind of, you know, work with one another. You know, send me papers like grad students and other professors are working on, stuff like that. I love it when I get an email of some interesting article or something that someone's working on, or home scientists, you know, just doing their thing. Like, you know, I wanted to again shout out something that's been going on. Also, USMC, welcome. And I was gonna say, I think you did a little super chat earlier too, if I saw that correctly. But StreamYard's real hard to work on the phone. As I said, I usually use the laptop, but right now, after the electrical storm, for some reason, our internet and laptop is not working. So I had to upload all from my cell phone. And so it took like 2 hours to upload the recent episode. So that's why I'm saying, oh, well, whatever then. USMC, sorry for, I don't know, calling you out if you're like, I didn't do a super chat. Well, thanks for being here anyways. Whoever I'm missing, whoever did that other super chat, it's gone and it won't let me go back. I know, anyways, dang, that is frustrating. I wish it would let me, I can't even scan up past a certain point on this, but whoever it was, feel free to make yourself known if I haven't shouted you out yet, because I really do appreciate that. And again, we got another super chatter. Seriously, what is going on? It's Johnny. It's Johnny, Mr. Johnny. Thank you. I really appreciate it, brother. I really appreciate it. Man, you are a big help to the channel. This month, like, actually, there's a Johnny, like, bonus. There's a, like, actual bump in my metrics, and I know it's from Johnny during the live streams, like, literally, from all his gifted memberships. There's a couple of you guys this month who have done that, and I just thank you guys. I appreciate it. But just being here, just hanging out, asking questions, you know, hanging out, laying back, having a sip of your favorite beverage, checking out fish, chatting, talking about the world going by, all that is so much worth it to me. If you guys ever want to help, also, and you're like, I don't have the money, but I feel like I want to help, like, what you can do is watch the content, like it. You're already subscribed, most of y'all, and share it. That's one thing you can do. Don't do it all the time, obviously, but a sincerely shared link to something useful to somebody who you think may find it, like another fish lover or a nature lover or someone who likes history, or if you find something relevant that I've done, share it with someone. That's worth a lot to me, and to the algorithm, to everything. It helps connect us to build our community and all that. And so I love when that happens, or when someone comments like, I don't even like fish, how did I end up here? I watched your whole video. Like that. That's one of those things that kind of makes my day when I read those comments. So yes, sorry guys, I'm a little worked up today because of the cat breaking stuff, the internet going on, it's going schizo, and my fish room, we lost power during the big hail, thunder, wind, whatever event that happened. And we had a category 2, or what do they call it? Stage 2, category 2. It's not the actual hurricane or tornado or whatever. It's the warning level. Like it like 1 is like it's happening now. Go inside or you're goner. But we had like 2 out of 5 on the warning thing, and we had like 1,000 strikes of lightning in an hour. So it was a pretty intense lightning storm, especially for the Pacific Northwest. I am not shaking the camera on purpose. I am having to hold the camera because my lovely little kitten here keeps going to the base of the camera and rubbing her cheek on it, and it keeps swaying. I need to get a tripod that's cat proof, or maybe I could get a cat that's tripod proof, and whatever. Okay. So you guys have seen me. Johnny, thank you for the gifting of memberships. Those of y'all who are new to the membership side of things, there's a lot of audio focused content, and I do that anyways sometimes. Like I just did an episode on archaeological stuff and how human evolution has literally been shaped by fish keeping, fish trapping, fishing, and us living around water and all the life that goes on there. So yeah, Ollie the pufferfish, what's going on? Drifters Workshop, how's it going? Does lightning still feel like family? It does. That's an interesting question, and someone who doesn't know what we're talking about might be like, what? That's a weird thing to say. But no, ever since I got struck by lightning, I guess in June it'll be 8 years, but yeah, whatever, almost 8 years ago, it feels like, or maybe it'll be 7 years. I don't know. I'm bad with that. Now I can't, 7, I think, actually. And I can't believe I still haven't fixed all my teeth yet. That's how expensive it is when lightning breaks all your teeth. The real problem is I need to get cleared to fly again and go to Florida. I've had all the base work done. The bottom teeth are done. The top teeth just need to be put in, basically. Like the post settings are even in already now. It's just healed over and they need to just snap them in, basically. So yeah, but that was, over 30 grand. So it took me almost now 8 years to get that taken care of. But who cares about that? Who cares about that? Yes, lightning does feel like an element or a person now. When I see it, it gives me this feeling that I can't quite explain, but almost like when you're in trouble by like a parent, and a little bit of a like, whoa, when you're really in awe of something someone did, like very like, I can't believe my big brother is so good at basketball, when you're like a kid or something. It's a weird like connection and familiarity that I feel with it, and I almost feel called to it, kind of the way there is a psychological thing that people talk about where they're pulled towards either like the ocean, or if they're on top of a building, they kind of want to look over the edge, and you kind of want to get close, but then you're like, whoa, but I'm dizzy and I'm scared, but you kind of want to look closer. It's like the call of the void is what they say a lot of times in poetry, also scientific, like psychology. They even cite it, that there's this weird thing about creation, destruction, life, death, all the risk involved of certain things we do, and like the realizing the power of the moment and the power of a force or an action. And when it's so all or nothing, it clicks very differently. Anyways, Radina, how are we doing? I hope Johnny, also thanks for teaching me things and sharing the downfalls in the hobby, my downfalls in the hobby as well. Yeah, you are welcome. I got lots of downfalls. All the critters says I learned from the your downfall episodes the most. Well, that's good. At least we're learning together, you guys. I see lifelong aquarists that have done it for 40 years, and I'll hear something at our club meeting, and it's like, yeah, I screwed up and this happened. I didn't even think of that being a possibility. But sure enough, this happened. You know, and that's when I really listen, because then I don't have to make that mistake. That's the magic of being human, is we have what are called mirror neurons. And what makes us different, as far as we know, they're doing some experiments right now in chimpanzees, and they're trying to figure out if they're in there. And also the other two animals that they're learning about are cleaning wrasses, however you'd like to say that fish name. The saltwater fish, the little cleaner of sharks and of other fish and stuff, like, but notoriously, like, they'll clean bigger fish that are predatory. And they clean parasites and microcrustaceans and infections and worms and fish lice and things off other fish. And they can remember the fish they see and which order they saw them in. So if they see a barracuda, they can go clean it. And then if they see two more barracudas, you know, they'll acknowledge if the one that came third is the one that it cleaned the longest time ago, it'll still go to the third one first. And it will remember like up to a few hundred different individual fish they've learned in the lab. It can remember faces, fishes, lots of interesting things. And they don't even know exactly like how it's doing that, because it's a cross species thing. And like humans are notoriously terrible at being able to tell the difference between individuals unless you've spent years studying a particular creature. Like if someone asks you to point out the difference between seagulls in a flock of like 10 birds, most people could not take a look and then 10 minutes later tell you anything about what's what. But it appears that these little fish have a really good like photographic memory. But mirror neurons, let's talk about that for a moment before we get into the meat and potato, the fish and the chips, or the fish and the snails of the episode. And that is that mirror neurons are what allow us to see things with our eyes or feel things with our hands. And it allows us to basically take thoughts, take information, and turn it into sensory data or feelings and memories. So we can hear that somebody got burned, and we can remember a time where someone was in pain. And just for the fear or the sheer fact that we acknowledge that being burned is painful, that person has been burned, they're being emotional about this, and they've communicated, I was burned by doing X, Y, or Z, so don't do X, Y, or Z. That is one of the things that has allowed humans as a species to go so far, they think, is that we don't have to learn firsthand. We can learn just by being told. We can learn through stories. We can learn through YouTube. We can learn through so many different ways. And then later we had the ability to, you know, tell stories with language and learn. And so that gets even bigger than our mirror neurons by simply, we used to first learn probably 1 million years ago, maybe longer. Before we had language, we would simply see someone. Maybe they'd do that old, Three Stooges type thing where you step on a rake and it hits you in the face. And you're like, wow, that looked like it hurt. I won't do that. Or likewise, these same neurons in our brain allow us to project. If I take that rake, it looks hard. I can take that and hit someone and cause that same pain. So it works in a dark way and a enlightening way. And it's up to us as a race, as a culture, as a species, as an individual, how we want to use that emotional feeling or that thought. And what's really fascinating about mirror neurons is like when you lose a hand, you amputate a hand or a leg, especially if it's a sudden, traumatic loss. That's usually how you lose stuff like that. It's not just like, oh, it slowly started to disappear and 3 years later it was totally gone. But you have these the ability to look at it, and your brain and body still spatially thinks, I have a hand. And it takes you a long time, if ever, once you're an adult, to then recalibrate and be like, oh, it's gone. Now I'm this size. Now I don't need to watch out for when I move my arm this way. I'll have to watch out for where my arm is. And also they found that veterans and people who have been amputees, sometimes for years, when they have that so-called phantom limb syndrome, they can put their hand next to a mirror in a box, just a simple mirror, in a cardboard or wooden box, whatever, any type of mirror, tinfoil will work. The reflection in water even has worked. And all of a sudden, when they're feeling pain in this hand that is not there anymore, and they're getting pain from this hand because their nerves are remembering some past signal and sending it up to the spine, up to the brain, and saying, I'm in pain, it hurts. And they're like, how is that possible? You don't have a hand. There's nothing to send that signal. And it turns out in the brain, we actually can receive signals that are saying, hey, you got hurt, or hey, you're actively touching something hot or cold, or I have a cramp in my hand or leg or whatever, when it's not even a part of your body anymore. And it's these mirror neurons that help us with that as well. But mirror neurons in animals, that's also so-called named that, one, because of, the mirror when they do it with the amputee thing. But before that, it was because most animals will not realize when you put them in front of a mirror that that is not another creature. They don't get that it's just a reflection of themselves and flipped around. I mean, let alone the technology that's involved in that, and the fact that what animal has mirrors, out in the wild. You may have ice or like a dewdrop or water. Like there's fleeting glimpses where you can get a reflection in nature, but you don't interact with the crystal clear, non-warped reflection hardly ever in nature. Maybe perfectly smooth water or ice is one of the rare times we come into contact with that. But it appears as though some fish also have this. Now, why would fish have this ability when the only other creatures that seem to have this ability are very high learning? They're animals that we already know. That's a smart animal, like a monkey or a pig or an elephant or a whale. Like these are creatures that we're not that shocked when we're like, oh, wow, they use tools. Like that was shocking maybe 50, 70 years ago. But now it's pretty understood. But now we're learning that there are, yes, a number of fish that use tools, including stone tools, wood tools. There are fish that will use them to pry open clams and things that don't have the dentition or the teeth naturally. And they will pick up rocks and drop them over and over, or they will pick up a clam and drop it over and over, or they will leave it for some other critter to smash, like a bird to pick up and drop and smash. And they know that fragments of that are going to fall back into the water on the rocks. So you've also had cases of both fish and marine mammals putting food basically up on the shore. Orca whales do this with hunting as well, and humans. And basically humans in Australia, as well as the Macaw tribe here in Washington State, and the other tribe, I think it's the Haida, as well as maybe Greenland has some traditions with this as well. And I'm not sure about New Zealand, but there may be something going on there too. Let me know if you guys know of more instances of the killer whales, orca whales. But basically, they would hunt down other whales or seals, humans would, and the orca whales, killer whales, would herd them into a bay so that the humans could spear them. And then the humans would cut the tongue or organ meat out of the animal and throw that back to the orca whales as like a reward or a treat for helping them dispatch this other, a sperm whale or a humpback whale or whatever it may be. Cat, yeah, she stopped rubbing on the camera, but she decided to just start chewing on my leg. So now she gets to be held and you get to be on camera, Sumi. Yeah, you've been such a bad cat. You are a bad kitty. You're a bad kitty cat. So yeah. All right, let's see here. I saw Johnny did more, another 5. Also, let me read some. He did another 5-member giveaway. So thank you, Johnny. Man, you are so extra, bro. Thank you. Dr. Trace says, have you considered going to Mexico for the dental thing? Yeah, I priced it out, and the problem is that I have lupus. I have autoimmune issues. And so going to Mexico is a little bit risky if I have like a complication like blood clotting and stuff like that issues, or an adverse reaction to like anything from the metal they use or an implant type thing. I've had rejection of dental work before. And so I had to work specially with a dentist in the US, but I did find a dentist that basically used me as a teaching case, and he did it for $15,000 for the top and $15,000 for the bottom, which I paid in separate installments several years apart. But anywhere in the Seattle area, to get all the teeth done and to not shave down, what they usually like to do with dentures is they shave down your jawbone, and then they put a new surface on it and snap struts in. If they're going to do an implant denture insert. But if you want to maintain your bone density and the size of your bone that's available, then you have to put actual implants in every few centimeters. And that requires, one, more implants, but two, also like very custom work. And so the fact that I needed that made it so it was going to be about, I could have done it for like $2 or $3 grand cheaper at the end of the day if I'd flown somewhere, but I would have had to do it in 3 parts minimum. I've had to do it at the end of the day in 5 parts to Florida, but I have frequent flyer miles. So it's worked out so that I've been able to go to clubs, give talks, do things like that, and then get the dental work done before or after that while I'm in Florida in this little rural town that had a friend of a friend type connection hook me up with this surgeon there. So that's why I ended up in that predicament or in this situation. And now I have a wound on my foot, and it's just been forever. It's another whole story, but yeah, I can't fly until I get cleared of no blood clot danger. But they do a total of 10 implants on the top and bottom. Let's see here. What am I missing? Oh, there's Johnny's 5 fishery memberships. Guys, if you're new, if you got a free membership, thank Johnny. Thank the Johnny. And go to the community tab, go to recent posts, check out what's there. There's extra 200 and some episodes for you, plus things like discount codes and stuff that I posted that aren't open to the whole channel. I make announcements from time to time. I also post a lot of sources or just stuff that I find interesting. Every once in a while I'll do a live stream, or maybe something that's not strictly fish related, like talking about fungi or mushrooms. We'll do a live stream on that during those seasons, stuff like that. Or archaeology, which is where I'm officially trained, where I have any any credibility, so to speak. I have any reason to say I can do anything. But yeah, let's see here. Uyo, hello. And Darbwire, what's up? Could you yell Shazam? Yes, Shazam. Also, hello, my beautiful wife. My beautiful wife is home. She was in LA, and then she was in Boise, and now she has an annoying cat bugging her. And honey, don't look in the other room. Since I've been streaming, the cat flipped over a potted plant, so I only had time to pick it up so far. I haven't swept it up. But I'm just letting you know. Sorry that we have a monster for a child. It didn't break the pot somehow. She fell over with the whole thing. It was a very loud noise right as I was setting up the stream. So, yeah. Yeah. And you guys can hear the cat going, meow, meow, meow. Well, she wants food. That's what's going on. And the thing is, if we feed her at 5, we feed her 12 hours apart. But if we feed her at 5, she then wants food at 5 p.m. exactly. And we are not always home at 5 p.m. We're home by 6 usually. Oh, look at that little face. Look at your little purse.
She's cute. She's the devil.
Yes, she's cute and the devil at the same time. Is she purring? I'll listen to her little snorts and purrs.
She wants to go, Mom. Let me
Wait,
go.
let's hear her purr. I don't hear her purring. I don't know. Hey, we went from 45 or 50 viewers to 81 when the cat came on screen. What does that say about the internet, you guys? Other than I wasn't very interesting with what I was talking about up till now. Apparently, just put a purring cat on there and you'll be gravy. You love the house? Well, thank you very much. We work very little at it. No, my wife works very hard at, decorating and making it homey. I just do the aquariums and apparently ruin everything that she, cleans up and puts together. I like make a mess, like with various projects and crazy ideas and things like that. Let's see here. Unlicensedminky. Man, I don't know why these names. Everything is so shrunken on my screen right now. I wish the internet was working better here, guys. I apologize. George, what is up? Good to see you. How do you know if you were gifted a membership? You get a green thing next to your name. It'll say you were gifted a membership, but you have to go onto a computer, I think, or maybe it's an iPhone can do it too. But you have to say, I am ready to accept gifts. Hey, what's up, other George Aquaballs? What's up, man? I'm planting some blueberries and roses. Right on for your wife. Cool. Yeah, it's not quite nice enough here that we're out of like frost for sure season, but it should be happening soon. Hey, Johnny, thank you. He said, no problem. That's what we do to support those who pique our best interest. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad, we're together, both of us, you, me, everyone here. Sounds like a lot of us use this hobby, use hanging out with this community as a positive thing in our lives, and that's what it's all about. Jeff Kane, what's up, buddy? And Mr. G, hello. Emerald Dwarf Raspberries, should I keep only with shrimp and snails? You could, but they will eat baby shrimp. Now, if you have a lot of hiding places, like rock piles, wood that's able for the shrimp to crawl in, the shrimp will do just fine. That being said, shrimp will do just fine if you have enough of them. You need kind of like a tipping point amount. David's Aquatics, hello, welcome. Come on in, the water is fine. And also, Cassandra, hello. You swung below freezing and then back up to 80 in Texas. Yeah, that's nuts. Everything is bigger in Texas, including the pain in the butt that the weather is. Luke, what is up, man? We got the plant expert in the house. I didn't see yet if Stephen P 2003 Aquatics is here, but Luke, he is the other plant man with a plan named Stan from Afghanistan. That's all of that's a lie except for the plant part. But he is a good friend and he is involved with the Findig and stuff like that. Time flies when you never sleep. That's right. And member for 37 months, guys. Jeff, he could have basically graduated a 4-year degree with me at this point. Almost. Well, let's at least 3 years. 3 years. He's dedicated 3 full years, which if you count like summer break and how long a school year really is, he has dedicated an entire high school time to this channel and supporting me. And I can't tell you like how incredibly generous and grateful I am for that generosity and that kindness, supporting what goes on here, what doesn't go on here, the madness that is this channel. I've been having fun. I've been playing with trying to film these tanks with new lighting setups, and I kind of decided that in the fish room, which I'm going to show y'all in a moment, I kind of want to, as I said, I want to do more nature stuff that's open to people other than just fish keepers. I love everyone who's fish keeping, and I don't intend to change like our live streams or people who want to talk about fish, any of that stuff. That's great. But I do want to start talking more about like open ideas about ecosystems, science. You know, if we're talking about the nitrogen cycle, let's talk about nitrogen in general in the entire, you know, ecosystem that's tangentially related. If it's interesting, you know, if it's something that's curious and interesting and may have relevancy later down the road, I think we can learn a lot more by keeping our mind open and not just like saying, oh, this is fish related, so we'll only talk about this, you know. Same with like history. On this channel, we like to go back and explore who first named a fish. You know, whenever I do a species spotlight, I'll look up in a book, you know, I'll look up who named this fish? What year did this fish get the name? Okay, why was it named that? And then who did they name it after? Who was that person? What was going on? Oh, okay, so maybe it was named after a guy who funded the expedition. And then you find out, oh, he funded, you know, the college itself, you know, or he was this guy who funded this other thing, and, you know, he's tied to these people. And it becomes this kind of interesting story about people as well as fish. And I just love uncovering those weird connections, as well as like the technological collections. Steve E, welcome. The water is nice and lukewarm. So, you know, I don't know if that's always a good thing. Sometimes you want to say it's like, you know, it's chilly and refreshing, but I don't know how refreshing this is. So I can pick Luke's brain on what the heck is the plant in my aquarium. Yeah, you could. If he responds, you can. I mean, I can't volunteer him, but also our Discord is a good place for that. So is our Facebook group. So if you want, sure. Let's see here. Old Jack, what's going on? Emergency water chain. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hey, Luke, almost Findig. Yeah. Oh, I wish I was gonna be at Findig. I really do. I don't think I'm gonna make it this year, but I want to go, but I don't think I'm gonna be cleared to fly, and I'm probably not gonna drive. So yeah. Tim Moen, what's going on? He's got a bachelor in fisheries at this point. Yeah. Anybody who's been supporting the channel for 3 or 4 years, I mean, wild stuff. Oh, wow. Yeah, Texas must be a nice place to have fish ponds, that's for sure. Ever hopeful. Alex, good to see you tonight. Also, I have a one-eyed grand cat that has similar markings to Sumi. Awesome. Well, say meow, 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 to your cat. Luke, member for 39 months, outdoing Jeff. No, actually, I think y'all have both been here a long time. And, you know, if you have a new credit card number, it makes you repunch it in and you can lose your time or whatever. You can take time off and then come back, yada, yada. There's things happen, people. And, you know, but Luke, man, thank you so much for your assistance as a mod, as a friend, and for last year at Findig, inviting me to talk at Findig. Last year, our talk at Findig, which it was live, but it was a little on the channel. It was live, but I don't know how easy it was to hear and so forth. But it was about why you shouldn't trust me on YouTube. Who is a YouTuber? Why trust a YouTuber? And how do you vet sources yourself? And in a generation where we're ever faced with AI and Photoshop and all these other things, now it's so important just to check the basics. Learning to know how you can not Google a fish and say like, okay, what's true about this fish according to Fish Hub or fish websites necessarily, but what is true according to the scientifically published papers that universities and people who spend their life dedicated to this subject, what's their consensus? And you can kind of like, you know, take a little bit of both and mix it together and take it all with a grain of salt, right? Because, you know, in one of my recent videos, I just talked about how there was a guy in Germany who used to all the time name fish, and he would name fish and explain, he'd talk all about them and describe what is going on here, and describe, you know, what kind of fish they were, where they were from, all that stuff. And then people would put certain fish in a fish tank for him at the university. And I'm trying to turn the camera around here, guys, so you can see some fish and not me. But oh boy, come on. Why is this being so difficult? Audio camera there. That's what, that's real close. We don't need that. We need back facing camera. This one? Sure. We'll go with that one. All right. So let's take a look at the tanks while we talk. You don't need to look at me while we talk. Unless I have something sincere to tell you, sincere and truthful and truthiness. So here is the big old living room tank, which right now has a school of about 50 reed tetras. I love just buying like these $2 tetras and just watching what they do socially that they would never do if you only had, say, 20 of them together or in a small space. So put them in a 60-gallon, 40-gallon, 90, 120, whatever you got that's big. Go and buy a bunch of one fish you like that's cheap, or breed a bunch of them. And then just watch what they do when they're in a natural-ish environment similar to their own. It's so fascinating and beautiful. All right, so my Logonandra meboldi, or actually this is Logonandra, yeah, this is the Logonandra meboldi pink, doing really good, looking really good. Looking good, feeling good, Lewis. Then I've got my Logonandra carolensis, which is another type of Logonandra. Then there's another Logonandra under here that's kind of shy, and this is the brass or bronze Logonandra carolensis, not meboldi. And then I've got the Logonandra meboldi silver powder. My buddy Alan Bauer and I have been trading back and forth this plant for years now. And I have not been able to resuscitate it more than, I mean, I've grown its root, rhizome, tuber, whatever you want to call it, to like this big now. And it started this big. And yet it will still only put up 2, maybe 3 leaves at best. Why won't it do this and take over my tank? Take over my tank, plant. Also in here, we've got the live bearers. We got the little endlers in with the fish from, you know, the reed tetra. But you can see these live bears have these interesting markings because these were the blonde live bears crossed with the rainbow snakeskin guppies, and that left us with some interesting blonde ones in the same generation as some of these interesting females with not much color at all in their tail. And then the next generation after that, you got these females that aren't blonde anymore, but their tail is bright yellow, and the males have a bunch of color, and it's showing all over the place. There's a male from the newest generation right there, showing off, doing his thing. He's getting his kind of tiger stripes in, and shimmery. This is a very acidic tank, but this one, look at this one here. It looks like a wild endler. I mean, it looks just like a wild class, and so does this female. No markings whatsoever. So I don't know what's going on with the genetics. I'm gonna have to do a pheno chart or a genotypical chart type thing and figure out what in the heck is going on here, because we're just kind of raising guppies for fun. Also, we've got the Neocaridina shrimp in here, the Bloody Marys. I put about 20 in here, and in a 60-gallon with a lot of plants, that is not enough. So I hope they're populating, but I honestly have not seen many babies. I see the adults, but I've never, let me rephrase that, I've never seen a baby yet. I saw one mid-sized juvenile that could have been a birth in this tank. I don't know. But then we also have a couple random tetras in here too. Carlton Epps, what's going on? let me get down to, I always get behind on the stream. So yeah, who do we have here? Know what fish social media is missing? Memes. Oh, they exist. And HKK, welcome. I'm glad that you are able to join us. Garage Gills, thanks for being a member and thanks for joining us. So that was the topic. There may be a few squirrel moments. Oh yeah, we definitely talk about really, really in-depth things here. And then we also talk about squirrel and get off track, right? Yeah, that's how it goes here. Mr. G, what's up? 1 pound fish rock. Yeah. I need more plants, less fish. I understand that. For years and years now, and you still don't have any, Luke. Yeah, I need to get you that silver powder queen. Now you can just buy the tissue culture for like $14, but at one point I paid $200 for it in 2017. Back when I was, at my peak collectoritis, when I was getting into the hobby, like just crazy, like. All right, so here's the other tank. I said originally that I was going to update y'all with this tank more, and actually Stephen P and I both picked 5 of our favorite plants that we've been playing with lately, and we made a video. Well, he made a video. I asked him to submit some content for a video. I still need to edit my part, but he sent me over what I needed. So it's on me. I need to get off my butt and edit that. I just keep doing other projects. But I will be editing that video soon, and it's a Stephen P and Alex. I guess you'd call it a mashup where we each pick 5 plants in the hobby right now that we're excited about. But one of the ones I picked was this purple aflame Echinodorus. And he wanted to pick that one too. And I said, no, you can't. And this video is my idea. So I get to tell you can't. But what's happening right now is we are in a phase where, this being such a shallow tank, I ripped out all of the carpeting plants because it was just too patchy, the carpet just wasn't working. I think what the problem is that I need more flow in this tank than a hang off the back filter on one side. Carpeting plants really kind of need the flow and also the distribution of nutrients, or they kind of just like collect mulm and dirt and algae like you're seeing on the bottom right now. And so right now and I also used an existing substrate in this tank, if you recall. I didn't build a whole new one from scratch. If you can see the layers, this is a lasagna style tank as I usually make. And, it's got a little bit of everything in it. And that included quite a few algae. But, they held each other in place for quite some time. They were actually a pretty balanced ecosystem that didn't, like, no one algae was a monster taking over. And then all of a sudden I've been dealing with whatever this stuff is. And it's interesting because I actually, on a whim, I dosed it with Metroplex, which is it has biotic properties in it. And the Metroplex actually killed off a ton of the algae. And so what I'm wondering is if there is a relationship with this green slimy algae that I'm getting here, because it's a little different than normal hair algae that you would typically get in most aquariums that I've dealt with a million times before, and I can usually get under control quickly. But something about whatever's going on in this tank, I think it has a blue-green algae or cyanobacteria element to it, because we're running CO2, we're blasting high light, and yet it still keeps appearing. And so we're going to have to pick a new carpet plant and maybe just add like a power head, which I think would be a good thing, because when I made this tank, the fish were all much younger and smaller, obviously. And now they're getting, they've all gotten to their full potential size-wise. And I think, treading water in one direction with a nice with power head is probably the best way to treat them these days, because right now they're a little cramped, and I think what's happening is they're going to the bathroom and there's dead spots in the current because of this giant log here. And so I think they're kind of just going to the bathroom and making mulm. And even though I put a whole bunch of shrimp in here, the Amano shrimp and my cat became quick friends. The Amano shrimp are so bold that they will like sit there and come up all the way so that they're out of the water up here and like staring at the cat. And now the cat acquired for the first time a taste for something in the aquarium other than, well, she likes the aquarium water too. But now she's pretty much cleared out most of my Amano shrimp. Now, the panda loaches, they do a good job. The autosynclus do a good job, but I just didn't put a ton in here. They weren't like the big number species. Like they're not the bulk of the biodiversity in here. So there's only like 5 panda loaches in here and 2 of the new ones and 5 of the old ones. But then there's a lot of these fish that don't do anything. These are the fish that don't do anything. Yeah. So also moss. That's something. Moss, the wassertang, they just gather in this aquarium and grow, and they're not helping anything. They're not. They're just adding to the mulm and to the. Look at all this. If I mix it up, like this debris that's on the plants, and look at this like leaf right here. Like all this is just going to turn into algae food. And even with all the CO2 pumping and the root tabs that the loaches dig up, it's not enough. It's not enough. Not like us. And yeah, anyways, so in here, there's some interesting plants that I kind of knocked over today. Let me set the log back the way it's supposed to go when I'm not cleaning and accessing it. Also, like this Anubias that's come up out of the water. Cat, I hear cat. Where's the cat? I know you're up to something. Anyways, but this stuff's pretty cool too, but it also just is a trap for algae growing. You can see maybe you can see all the baby shrimp that are in here. I hope, let's see if we can see this live. Maybe I'll make a video where we get to see this closer. In higher quality, because this just attracts all this debris, mulm, and basically plant that has ceased to be alive. And I have to double check that I'm not sucking up a bunch of baby shrimp every time I hit this part of the tank with the turkey baster, but I end up with getting a lot of algae and junk out of here. And every couple days, I'm having to come through here and clean with the turkey baster. With the current setup. So something needs to change. And I think getting the flow to move around a lot more will help. I think also getting some more plants that can eat up the nitrites quickly will help. But I'm really not having a nitrate or nitrite problem. Like there aren't that many nitrates or nitrites detectable in here at a given time. Like maybe 20 is what it peaks at, even with all these fish. But I think the problem is that the plants are kind of all competing, and none of them are just like savage consumers of the nitrates and nitrites. And so like the rotala is probably the closest thing, or maybe like the purple rotala here, or maybe Valsinaria. That's another one that does actually use quite a bit. But the thing about Valsinaria is it can survive also without its roots even in anything. I mean, it can just float like this. Like when it's trying to spread, it'll get up out of the substrate and walk itself along the ground in your aquarium. And that's why people with sandy tanks are like, oh, you can grow plants on sand. And sure you can, but as like people have been saying lately, which is cool that more people in the hobby have seemed to be grasping this concept. You can grow plants in gravel or on sand, or I mean, when you do that, you almost might as well just grow them with nothing. So like Skeptical Aquatics, he's been growing plants on his channel, just like they do at a lot of nurseries, which is like essentially aquaponically or hydroponically, however you want to think of that or say that. But basically, nothing is there other than a weight to hold down the roots. They really just need a matrix to hold on to, and they'll put out the right number of roots. But so this is, I'm just showing you right now the what I'd have to do every maybe 2 days just to keep this thing at bay currently, which I don't want to do anymore. I'm over it. I'm over it. But you know, at the same time, I feel like a lot of my my planning for this tank, it has ended up the way I wanted it, in the sense that like all this like clovery viney stuff is like all tangled up, and it's growing fast. It just doesn't have enough structure. Like I wanted it to grow along this log and up and around, and it's not doing that. It's growing denser in the aquarium first, underwater, and I didn't expect that. And see, these are things, you know, you learn over time, and it's also stuff like this that you learn when you look at like aquascaping pros that put together an incredible looking tank, and you're like, wow, that's a beautiful tank and a beautiful picture, and like, how did they do that? Well, when you start doing this long enough, you'll acquire the ability to know, like, oh, this is all stem plants. This is really sustainable. You can keep this going forever without doing any labor. But when you get to stem plants, some fast, some slow, some carpeting plants, some vining plants, a shallow tank, you know, then you start getting a lot less margin of error to work with, and things like water changes become more essential, or using the right fertilizer, or not using fertilizer, not over fertilizing rather, or using CO2, for instance. That's going to keep the plants a lot brighter, more colorful, stuff like that. Over here, without the CO2 and stuff, it's sheer light that is forcing these plants. You can see there's some baby. We got some more little baby live bearers all throughout up in here. But, and then we've got all my Anubias hybrids and stuff. So guys, I think I'm missing out on your chats yet again, as I always do. I apologize, guys. Also, I want to shout out, you guys make me want to shout. Any advice on raising baby Apistogramma vieja, or vieta, as we say in the hobby? 50-gallon open top frog tank. Have not pulled parents because they're doing well. I would pull parents usually with the pistos by 3 or 4 weeks max. Some people leave them the whole time, and some apistos will do fine. That's the first thing I'm gonna like let you know, that yeah, it's possible. In nature, they can do it. They have enough room and nothing stresses them out, like the vacuum cleaner. And I'm not kidding. The vacuum cleaner is enough that it could scare some types of apisto or some individual apistos. And literally that's enough that they might all of a sudden turn and start eating their babies. It could be other fish. It could be that there's light for an extra hour. You know, whatever it may be, there's these issues that can cause them to snap. So if you're hoping to keep a lot of those apisto babies, I would definitely pull them sooner than later. But it's great that the parents raise them to that point. But now that they're a big enough size, if they're a couple weeks old, that you can get them to eat whatever. You can feed them. You can feed them flake food and stuff. They should be okay. They should be all right. All right, so here is the fish room in progress, always in progress, that I've neglected so bad since my big old leg injury. But, you know, we got the little tank here that has no filter, just a light, no anything on it. It's just got elastomas and a couple little live bear fry and some shrimp. Then we've got the tank here. We've got my, in here, we've got the lovely checkerboard cichlids doing their thing. We've also got some gouramis and Negrofasciatus danios. Down there, we have my giant angelfish. that doesn't get along with any fish, and that's my like QT tank / home for stray mean fish. Up here, we've got my zebra loach / striped loach. They're not zebra loaches. They're striped hovering loaches. Spawning tank. Don't know why they love it so much, but they do. And then also we've got some of these black stripe. Right here is a male, and this looks like more like a female here. Yeah, that's a female. Little dwarf cichlids, and ta-da, male betta, female betta, male betta, male betta over there, female betta up in the back. So it's also, you know, you'd think that would be, that tank would be Thunderdome. It's not. There's enough blocks of sight. I have a video on it. It's become infamous at this point. Reddit hates me. Also, Apistos. Speaking of Apistos, here are my only pair of Apistos at the moment. We've got these lovely McMaster red shoulders. I don't know if Mick's in here, but man, that male, look at how pretty he is right now. And then we've got these Skull Island, or no, Moa Island, Sahulensis rainbow fish, as well as the Aru 4s, and we have one of the Madagascars left. Madagascar rainbow fish. Look at that one with the red tail. Nobody, including Gary Lang, can give me, you know, a sensible answer as to what happened. It broke its tail, and its tail turned bright red. It's been known to be a viral thing that can happen, but I think it's some sort of anomaly where something about the carotenoids or the immune system must have gone nuts, or it was born and destined to have a big red weird tail. But isn't that crazy? Mick, hey, you heard me say Apisto. I was just saying that this male, he's getting kind of to his glory days. He's getting his big old, you know, shoulder, a little bit of a nuchal hump even, dare I say. And then the female, you know, just doing her thing. And then also we've got the loaches in here. Now, I've allowed this algae to grow in here so that the scuds that I release in here can feed these gobies longer and the cully loaches and stuff. And that's worked out pretty well. I don't know if I love the look, but it's worked out pretty well. Also, we've got a nest with my Betta Maha chiensis over here. We've also got my weird mix of a hard water loving live bearer. And then we've also got this grumpy guy, the Betta compuncta malak. Look at that big old mouth. Look at that giant mouth he's got. Actually, that's a female. Look at that giant mouth she's got. Here comes the male. He's got an even bigger mouth, but less apparent. He's got that kind of hinge mouth. Look at it. Look at it. Here he comes, the big old bulldog of a. Anyways, so and then over here, the Betta malak. Sorry, that's not clean. There's algae on that one, but he's kind of doing his thing, trying to build his nest here. He's got his ladies present, and they're taking over. Now over here, just this literally has happened in 2 days. So look at this cyanobacteria. This is this tank has had cyanobacteria so many times I can't even count it. But the babies, I mean, they keep having babies. This pair keeps cranking out more babies after babies after babies after babies. These goodeids and the peacock gudgeons in here, they seem happy. I don't know why. I don't know. I also took in a new, my neighbor had it and couldn't keep it. A Petco balloon ram, a German blue ram that's like the stubby little body that I don't really approve of breeding. So that's in there too now. That's a new addition. And then also we've got the Betta imbolus right here, looking beautiful with their blue and red. And the female looking kind of skinny, but she's starting to put eggs back on. You can see her oviducts are starting to fill on either side, kind of like a saddle. And hey, Kenny, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Welcome to the party. Drine Santos, let's see. let's see here. Those are a Pisto McMasterI red shoulder. The true Vieta really appear on any order list. Yep, totally. They're just the McMasterized. Yep, exactly. But they're pretty. The male is very pretty. They don't look like the Vieta or Va, however you want to say it, Vieta looks a little different. Also, the female would look more like a little more plain than this female. This female is pretty dramatically painted up. And they're not even in like spawning mode. They're just chilling. They've never spawned for me, and I've had them now 2 years, which I'm kind of getting frustrated. Maybe I just need to drop them, put them in their own tank, get rid of all the rainbow fish and stuff, and the gobies. But they never even like pick a nesting area, which just it frustrates me. Okay, so what else is going on? Well, this was the long-term test. It's the Malua tank that has quote unquote Malua settings. So this is my like backup tank for the Maluas. This is the population in case like the other 2 or 3 tanks with them crash or my blue or red line crashed. Lo and behold, those things happened at one point. And this is the hard water tank. Well, also, I've got these little black chin live bears from Costa Rica in here. And I've got chili rasboras. The chili rasboras are in here to see if I could get chili rasboras to transfer from highly acidic water to very alkaline water. So this is 8.2 pH with a 600 TDS. And yet they have survived. I mean, I did it slowly, but they've survived it and they're flourishing. So they seem to be doing well. Those little guys are pushing 3, maybe 4 years old, those 5. So then in here, a little hard to see right now. You'll see her in a sec, hopefully. We got the female live bear, which is the smallest of the live bears in the world, the least killy fish, as it's called, somewhat inappropriately. I don't know why they call it that. But look at these little males. Here's a male that's an adult right there. Not even a third of an inch long, maybe a centimeter long, that male. And in there, the female will grow to probably 5-6 centimeters max, is what she could grow to. But they've had some babies recently, which makes me happy because I'm trying to keep this very natural. I put aquatic isopods and scuds in here, and I was afraid that the scuds and the shrimp and the isopods, like someone in that mix, might cause a problem. So I added them all one by one. I kept it shallow, like you'll find these things only in really shallow water in nature, generally, like an abundance of them, anyways. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Now, also, I had someone from Aquarium Co-op come by and drop off a hinge mouth, African hinge mouth, which is terrified of everything. I mean, it's been hiding underneath algae and stuff since I got it. And then also, she brought over a number of beta hendra. So there's a few beta hendras in here too. I've taken pictures of them, but they seem to just hide behind that rock and underneath the wood and in the algae. But also, the other thing that's been going on in here was little checkerboard cichlids. We got new ones finally. I mean, the babies were in here under all the Claudophora algae, and I was able to remove some of it. And lo and behold, there are 3 or 4 baby checkerboard cichlids. So we have another generation rather than just the 2 adults that are in here at the moment. So I'm stoked about that. Also, if we move the light over here, we've got quite a few babies in the Molly, the Postciliata salvatori tank. Quite a few babies in there. Also up here, the lights aren't on, but we've got exclamation point rasboras, strawberry rasboras, and live bears. And then in here, we've got the smallest, the dwarf rice fish, the smallest rice fish there is in the world. There is that big old fat and sassy female. Looks like she's about to have babies, more live bearer babies. So that's good. But anyways, so all that's going on. And what I need to do now is I'm trying to decide. Got the new tank in. We took the old tank out. We need to replace the ceiling up here where it leaked so long ago. So we recoated all that. We need to replace that and take out all the sheetrock. So my scud tanks are up here. And then these are little, all just 2.5. So I can move those even full. So I can clear out the top real easy. And hopefully we can work on just the ceiling and the seam of the wall. The wall's pretty solid itself, and there's no fungi or mold or anything. It's all been killed off. But then down here, what I want to do is remove that tank. There's nothing in it. Probably going to remove the mollies when I find a good home for them. And then this tank will stay, this tank will stay. But these rimless ones, these two, are the same size as this new one. And I'm trying to decide, do I want them facing inward like this towards this and kind of have this horseshoe surrounded by aquascapes and maybe get CO2 running here? Or do I want to put them facing this way like this on and switch that tank with this tank? And I don't know for sure, but I kind of like the look of this and this. Whereas personally for me, I want to stand here and turn this way and look at fish, and this way and look at fish, and this way and look at fish, and be surrounded by pretty aquascapes. But that's not really reasonable for filming. It doesn't make as much sense. Then we also have this big old 65, and it is going to be, I'm almost positive I'm going to do an Orinoco tank here with some sand sifting cichlids. And then over here, we got my green screen that I still haven't officially set up, but the green screen my wife got me for my birthday. And then we've just got cinder block type shelving, which is what this is too. But that's where this is going to go. It's going to move over here. This is going to get moved. And then I'll have more access to this. And hopefully we can do the live streams here. All that said, I am very limited physically still. And so hopefully that works out. Well, guys, we're coming to the end of the stream. Barbara Jackson, good to see you. It's great to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, and LaBelle, hello. I'm just running through some of the chat here. Sorry, guys. I get so behind. Bon Congolese 209, hello. Is there a wild source for the gold least killifish? Yeah, there are leucistic wild ones. I've seen them. I've also seen melanistic wild ones. Dagmar, hello. Yeah, if you guys have a question about Apistos, Mick M is the dude to ask, 100%. Craig's Catfish Cave, hello. Good to see you, buddy. I know I need to do streams at another time. I don't see some of the people that we used to see all the time, and I miss y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah. Barbara, I hope you're doing well. I know we all got lives. We all got things going on. But it's good to see you, and thank you. I mean, I can't believe you're still supporting me. Hey, why is my wife, speaking of my support system, my wife is walking away. Oh, maybe she's going to the mail. No, walk right past the mailbox. So there goes that. Ashlyn Bard, hello. I hope you're doing well as well. Well as well. Camera, we're going to flip this around so I can say, it's time yet again. We had it all, my friend. And then again, in the end, there were indecisions. And yet again. Okay, sorry, guys. I'm done. I'll shut up. Oh, that shark bites. So it was very, very hot in the fishy room tonight. That fish room is 82 degrees and it's like 65 in the house. Oh, and I'm sweaty. I'm gross. I'm a sweaty, gross person with a sweaty, gross kitty cat. Where did she go? Did my wife clean up? Oh, my wife didn't clean it up. My wife did not clean up the dirt. So that must mean that I'm in trouble for my cat. Like if she didn't clean up the dirt, it means like your cat did that. That's your fault. That's what that means. That's a little hint. Just so you guys know, in case if you have a long-term spouse, you know that's what that means. But anyways, guys, do I know the? Oh, sorry, Cassandra. I have no idea if you answered because my kiddo started talking. Do you know the pH of your checkerboard a cichlid tank? Yeah, it is about 6.7, 6.6, right on the edge there. So yeah. Why do we and Luke have to be live? Because I'm late today because I uploaded a video just recently about 30 plus fish you should check out in the hobby. Moonlight Aquatic got a shipment of bonkers beautiful fish. If you guys want to check them out, check them out. I quarantine usually from them, but so far so good with most of their stuff, especially actually their wild caught stuff from Borneo tends to be really good. I don't know if that's because it's an island, like Borneo just doesn't have a ton of, critters to cause problems on the fish. That's probably a bad assumption, but for whatever reason, Java, Sulawesi, those places don't have like really bad parasite problems that I've seen. Whereas like South American fish, oh man, you can get or Indian fish or African fish, you can get like so much like puffers, snails, catfish, loaches. They're loaded with parasites sometimes. Well, I got to clean up this mess thanks to this cat. Thanks, cat. You're really special, real special. But you guys, thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. If I can, I'm gonna try to sneak another one in. It's being the end of the month and all. I always like to, milk it for every dollar, milk it for every minute of your adornment. If you adore me, adornment. If you just put me on and watch the channel. And if you just listen, I just did a 40-minute episode on history of how humans were shaped evolutionarily, physically by fish that you guys might dig. So that episode's up if you want to do water changes and listen to something. Just saying. But since Lucas Bretz is up and live and all that, and I know a lot of folks also enjoy him, I'm going to get out of here anyways. But thank you so much to all y'all for being here, all you commenters, you friends, you members, you non-friendly members, and you friendly non-members. I just appreciate y'all and appreciate what we got here. Our little secret, our little corner of the nerdy fish internet that can't stay on topic. Love y'all for that. I love that you put up with me for that. How about that? That's probably more fair. I am also going to figure out where my wife went. She wanted food, last I heard, which is also what the cat's problem was. So maybe we can fix a couple problems at the same time. Also, the new video is out. And the dichrosis, there are like a bunch of checkerboard cichlids now. If you like say that to an ichthyologist, I guess they'll probably roll their eyes because I think there's like 5 different ones now that people still call checkerboards. And that's like very common ones in America anyways. All right, you guys, you have a good one. Take care, and I will see you, of course, on Tuesday, as long as I'm not in the hospital or whatever. And I mean that. Like, I'm either laid up, flat out, or stuck in traffic, or the cat broke something if I'm not streaming. So otherwise, I'll see you guys then. Take care, and much love from me to you. Take care of your fish. Take care of your plants. And, of course, take care of yourself, or you can't take care of the people around you anyways. All right, guys. I'll see you next time on Fish to Read Live.